So it's my great pleasure to welcome Richard Noakes this evening, and he's worked for Electricity Northwest for 9 years and retired last month. They're the local distribution network operator for that side of the Pennines and a
Yep.
little bit of Hope Valley, but not much. And
Mm.
he's also is currently the chair of the Sustainable Hayfield Energy Group, and he's been in that group for 12 years and is going to talk to us about their time of use tariff project. Gosh, that's a tongue twister.
It
So
is.
over to you, Richard.
Okay, thank you, Zizi. So what I'm going to cover today is a project that we've been running for about 18 months now. It's not completed, so this is sort of what are the learnings so far on this project. There've been 3 or 4 of us involved in setting the project up and running it. And as Zizi indicated, it's all around the emerging time of use tariffs that are starting to appear on the marketplace from suppliers. So I'm going to do a little bit of background information just so we get up all on the same page. So when we talk about suppliers, I mean electricity, primarily electricity suppliers. Sometimes they're called retailers. I used to work for a distribution company. So when you pay your bill to your supplier, part of that money, and it's in your bill, goes to the distribution network operator, such as Electricity Northwest, to cover all the costs of managing the assets. So the DNO is an asset business managing pylons and cables. So our focus tonight is on the suppliers or retailers and trying to understand what are the benefits of the emerging time of use tariffs that are appearing. They are emerging. So one of the challenges we've had is that where we've looked at trying to understand if you can reduce your bills by moving to a time of use tariff. And I'll explain what that means. Those tariffs that are published, but they're also like one of those asterisks against them saying this is a beta test of a tariff. Yeah. So there's that's an indication of how the market, how early we are into the time of use tariffs marketplace actually becoming widely offered by the retailers. So that's a bit of a health warning that these tariffs can disappear very quickly if the retailer is not able to make it a commercial or economic success. And what we'll see is that there are a number of suppliers offering time of use tariffs, but at the moment, I think there's only 1 or 2 that are offering what is called a half hourly tariff, which is the most extreme, if you like, most complex tariff, where the price of your electricity changes every half an hour. So just in terms of definitions, a time of use tariff is a tariff where the price that's the unit cost of electricity, may change depending on the time of the day or the day of the week. A good example is an EV tariff, where you'll sign up to an EV tariff, and typically overnight you're charged something like 7 pence a unit of electricity, but during the day you may get charged 30 pence a unit. So, but there are 2 blocks: the overnight tariff and the during the day tariff, a bit like the old Economy 7. Yeah, but that is a time of use tariff because the price changes depending on the time of the day. So there are a number of those, and you'll see they're being advertised, new ones every day. I think E.ON are currently offering something where you get free electricity over the weekend if you sign up to this tariff. So they're time of use tariffs, but the work that we've done on this project is specifically on half-hourly tariffs, where the price changes every 30 minutes. And I'll explain what that means. So let me just try and share my screen, and we'll just go through some material if I can find it. Here it is. Right. Can you see that?
Not yet.
There. Does that come through now?
Not yet, Richard.
No, not yet.
No? Okay, let me try again.
It worked when we tried it earlier.
Yeah.
Beautifully before the meeting.
Oh, right. I see. I see what I've done.
That's it.
That's come through. Excellent. Right. Let me just make it visible. Right. So I'm not going to go through the whole of this presentation. There's just a section of it around transition to electricity in the UK. So this is a generic presentation in terms of the electrification of the UK. So heading towards our net zero targets of 2050, which I know today has been put under some sort of question by the leader of the opposition. But what I want to cover is this. I know you can't see all the detail, but I'll explain what these three blocks represent. Now you may be aware of this already. This may be new. I just wanted to make sure we're up to speed, because I will refer to this, the concepts behind this slide as we go through the time of use tariffs. So this is some information from June the 23rd, 2020. So it's three snapshots of the electricity generation mix in the UK, and some sort of numbers here at the top to give us an indication of how much carbon is being created through the generation of electricity. So the color coding helps us understand how good or bad. Yeah. So this carbon intensity, I'm colorblind actually, but that's green, meant to be green, which is a good. That's low carbon being generated through generation of electricity. Over here on this block, I think that's red. That's high carbon. We're generating a lot of carbon at that point in creating our electricity. So down here on the left is the mix. So how do we generate our electricity? So nuclear, you'll see nuclear is fairly static through the different times of the day. This first one on the left is 8:30 in the morning. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is 8:30 at night. So you'll see our carbon intensity changes. So it's 268 grams per whatever. It's just you don't really need to know exactly what that measure is, but it's 268 grams. During the day at 3 o'clock, it's 251. So we're generating less carbon. And then at night time, it goes up to 321. So we're generating a lot more carbon. So the carbon intensity is higher. And then 8:30 in the morning, half is low carbon. Lunchtime, we've gone up 56% is low carbon, but by 8 o'clock at night, it's gone down. So 41% is low carbon, hence the changes in the carbon intensity. And then another measure for people is renewable. Is this a renewable way of generating electricity? So 33%, 41%, down to 25%. So you can see during the day, And this is back in 2020, so 5 years ago. But the same applies today. And there's websites where you can go and you can see exactly this
So
this
what's the
information.
low carbon that's not renewable?
So nuclear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Yep. So the main luckily, now good news on these days, there's no coal. Back in 2020, that's quite unusual. We switched off the last coal generator. About 18 months ago, I think 12 months ago. But this was a fairly good day because we didn't have to use any coal for generations. It's usually the coal which is the worst. Gas is the most common one now. So you can see on that day, over 10 gigawatts came from gas, over 10 gigawatts, and then at night time it went up. So the culprit for increasing the carbon intensity was we depended more on gas at 8:30 in the evening. So this mix changes every 30 minutes. So the other important one, I guess, is solar generation, something like 3 gigawatts in the morning. It grew as the sun rose in the sky up to like 7 gigawatts. And then by the time we get to 8:30 in the evening, it's all gone. Yeah, it's got dark. Even in June, very low generation. And then wind. So we can see this is a complex picture of reducing our carbon and maximizing our renewables. And it changes every 30 minutes. This when you go to the website, you'll see the next snapshot for the next 30 minutes. But 30 minutes is the time beat, the drum beat for the marketplace. Yeah. So everything is done around a 30-minute slot. How much carbon, how much electricity you buy, how much your suppliers buy off the wholesale market is done in every 30 minutes. And if you've got a smart meter, not everybody has, then you can have your electricity consumption read every 30 minutes to align up with the rest of the industry. If you don't have a smart meter, then you put in your meter reads every month, and you get sent a bill every month. If you have a smart meter, then it opens up a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities to understand how this change during the day is impacting either the cost of your electricity or the amount of carbon that you are personally generating when you're consuming electricity. Okay, so that's the key underpinning model that the UK market is working to. If you went to this website and looked at it today, the coal would be zero, absolutely. During the summer, the solar would probably be higher than this because we've put in a lot more solar generation. The wind would be higher because we put a lot more wind farms in, and the gas would be lower, because we're slowly switching over to low carbon and renewable generation. So that underpins the electrification of the UK, because we're going to switch off gas generation, we're going to switch off gas heating and cooking, and we're going to switch off fossil fuel cars over a period of time with a target of 2050, to get to net zero. So in a sense, this is what our project is about, is how do we participate in this scheme? So how do we as consumers take advantage of low cost energy when the price of energy goes low, and how do we avoid consuming electricity when the price of energy is high? So it's the law of supply and demand. Yeah. So if I just explain this, this is the 48. I think that this is 48 half-hour slots during the day, and this is 6th of November, 2015. So 10 years ago. Yeah. So this is just an indication of during November, from the 1st of November to the 6th of November, what was the price of electricity on the marketplace. This is in pounds per megawatt hour. So this is the UK market price. And you can see on those days, so it's 2 for 6 days, the price is around about £50 per megawatt hour. That's UK PLC. That's what it's costing on the marketplace for the retailers to go and buy it. Yeah, and then from 4 o'clock till around about 8 o'clock, the price just goes astronomical. On the 4th of November 2015, the price went up to £350 per megawatt hour. So that's 7 times the price it was during the day. Other days not so bad, but this was a particular period when I think we can assume there was very little wind, very calm weather. Yeah, so we weren't generating off the wind farms, either onshore or offshore, and it was very dull, very cloudy. So we weren't generating solar. So supply and demand, we're not able to supply and generate enough electricity to meet the demand. So the price in the market just goes crazy, just goes through the roof. Yeah. So this peak here is, if you look at the same information today, this peak is pretty well exactly the same. There's sometimes there's a peak at breakfast time, and there's sometimes there's a peak at lunchtime, but nowhere near this high peak. Yeah.
Richard, could I ask you a question, please?
Yeah, certainly.
I mean, there's been a feature in The Guardian recently where private generators then come into play.
Yes.
And these private generators are costing you and I, the consumer, huge, because they are putting the price up for profit reasons rather than humanity's reasons.
Yes.
And there is therefore a disconnect in some respect about the so-called market, because the market is being distorted by these private suppliers.
Well, the market is they're responding to the market. So the market is saying if you are able to generate in this 3-hour slot here, you'll get paid huge amounts of money. They don't dictate that price. The market dictates the price. So if for example,
that's not what I understood. That they're setting prices.
No. The generators.
Are you sure about that?
The generators don't set the price. There is
but these are private generators. They're not set. Yep. These are not state organizations. They are private suppliers. It's a bit like, you're shopping around for a bank or other financial services. Yep. You can get a huge variation for mortgages and a whole range of other things, depending on your supplier.
So first thing is, all the generators are private. That there aren't any government generators. They're all private. Centrica, the Octopus, they're all private companies. We don't have a state. We used to have the National Generating Board, but that was all privatized. So that all the generators are private, and they are making investment decisions based on their prediction of how much they can get paid at this particular point in time. Yeah, and to switch on that generation such that they take advantage, because we're in a capitalist world. We're not in a central organized communist state or whatever, like China. They invest where they think they can make money.
But what about the supply of gas? Where's that all coming from? Because if it's coming from let's say Russia or some other place, then the market is being determined by that supply route.
Right. We have I think what you're referring to here is there's a massive anomaly in that this price here this one here at £350 per megawatt hour. That price is dictated by, even though there's a mix of different types of generation, it's dictated by the largest contributor to the generation. So the price of electricity in the UK has been dictated by the price of gas, because that's been the biggest generator for many years. And we were hit by increased electricity prices because of the war in Ukraine. The price of gas went through the roof, which meant this market price, because gas is the largest of the generators, followed the price of gas, and the government is planning to change the market model to stop that, such that we pay more aligned to what it costs, rather than the highest contributor to the generation. It's a crazy model we have today. I think that's what a lot of the articles are really referring to. It's that the price is being dictated by the gas price, i.e. the price of gas, just because gas is the biggest generator. If wind farms,
can I just step in there?
Sure.
That's not my understanding at all, and I'm really confused by that. And you're the expert here, so I didn't think it was the biggest generator. It's the highest cost. It's a marginal cost market, so it's the highest cost, not the biggest generator.
It's the highest cost. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not the volume. It's the highest cost.
Thank you.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
And gas is almost invariably the highest cost, and that's why it sets the price. So we need to get gas out of the mix.
Exactly right. Yep. Correct. So we need more wind farms. We need more solar. We need more nuclear. Just remove gas to be used only as a backup. Yeah, when we don't have wind and sun. So absolutely, yeah. Apologies for that. It's the highest price. So what can we do without thinking about half-hourly tariffs or time of use pricing? We could all just avoid that 4 till 7 slot. Yeah. So if you decided to avoid cooking meals, washing up, dryers, dishwashers, whatever, between 4 and 7, then these prices will go down. If we had a social media campaign, everybody switch off between 4 and 7, yeah, then the lower demand would reduce the actual cost. So and we would reduce our carbon. Yeah. So when there's a higher demand, we have to switch up the gas generation, because we can't switch up wind. Wind is going at max. We can't switch up the solar. It's the gas that goes up when we haven't got enough generation. So if we're just thinking about what can we do today to reduce our carbon footprint, it's literally don't use electricity between 4 and 8. Between 4 and 7. That slot is where our carbon generation of carbon is at its maximum. Yeah, so that's for people who are very focused on reducing their carbon footprint. Yeah, you may do that without any home technology, any management systems on your heating or on your lighting, whatever. You just avoid cooking, since I understood what's going on here, we just don't cook or use electric appliances between 4 and 7, simply because we want to reduce our carbon footprint. But this session is talking to a different audience. This is people who want to reduce their electricity bills. Yeah, so we clearly in Hayfield, I think everybody else, different groups have learned that there are different reasons why people are interested in sustainability, particularly the energy group in Hayfield. Some people are really just focused on reducing carbon, doesn't matter what it costs. Others are focused on, I need to be able to feed my kids. I got to reduce my electricity bills. Yeah, and we all live together in the same community, and we're all trying to do something to help. Yeah. So this session, this project, is around reducing the costs. So these are the wholesale market prices, but these are reflected. In this example here on the right, this is the Octopus retail market pilot in June 2020, which is when Octopus launched this, and you can see that on the various different half-hourly slots, the price is different. So the price you get charged varies every half an hour, and in this example, the 9:30 till 10 o'clock slot, it was 0.46 pence per kilowatt hour. So today's variable price is around about 27 pence per kilowatt hour. So this is an example of where it is extremely cheap, low cost at 9:30 till 10 in the morning, because quite likely that we've got really strong winds on a very, very sunny day, and we're generating more electricity than we can use. Yeah, so the price goes down. So it's the opposite of this. We've got low demand with high generation volumes, yeah, and the opposite occurs. As you can see here, earlier in the morning, the price went negative. Yeah, so you get paid by Octopus to consume electricity when we've got more electricity being generated than we're actually consuming. So the risk of the price, so the risk to you as a consumer is totally down to you. So you may win, you may lose. An Octopus, no, they'll just change the price and they'll bill you. And so the risk of your electricity bill going up or going down depends on the weather. Yeah. So if you go for like a fix tariff, the risk is with Octopus. In this case, Octopus fix their tariff and they work out how much they're going to make money, how they're going to make money from that fix. Yeah, and they do. There's some very clever people in their organization, trading organization, to make sure that they still make money, even though you've got a fix of 27p a unit. They have to work very hard to make sure that they actually make a profit on that. And clearly, it's a very competitive market with 30 different companies. It used to be 50, but it's reduced. Whereas on this half-hourly tariff, what they do, they take the market price and they just add their margin on it. So if the market price is high, they just add some more on, 10% or whatever it is, and they guarantee they make money every half an hour because they just track the market price and add their profit on top. So all the risk is with the consumer. They have. I talk a lot about Octopus because Octopus is the only one at the moment that we found which has got half-hourly pricing. They do realize that the market can go very, very high here, massively high. So they do cap it at £1 per kilowatt hour per unit. Yeah. So they have sort of mitigated some of the risk to the consumer by saying, no, we will charge you up to £1. If the market goes much higher than that, then Octopus take the hit on it. Is that okay? It's when you're watching telly and people talk about the price caps going up and it's like the average bill, it isn't straightforward because people don't necessarily understand what we mean by the price cap and the average bill. You may pay more than that, you may pay less. So it's pretty complicated for a lot of people to get the brain around. Well, at the end of the day, they just want to reduce their bills. So everybody happy? Any questions on how this time of use tariff works?
No,
Yep.
it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I'll leave it till later.
Okay.
I was going to ask a question, but it can wait.
Okay. So this is probably the if you like the future. So in terms of mass adoption of home energy management systems, yeah. So to make this work properly and effectively, we need these 5 things in place. Because at the moment, what I said was, you just avoid using electricity between 4 and 7, and you're doing your bit. You're reducing the carbon footprint of the country. Yeah, so that's a simple thing. You don't need any tech. You don't need tariffs. You don't need anything. You just avoid high carbon periods of the day, and it's always between 4 and 7. So it's then. But there's a lot more you can do. So you can use half-hourly pricing. Yeah? So you can go to a half-hourly tariff where you can take advantage of low cost or negative pricing during the day, and you could do that just using an app. So I'm with Octopus. I'm on the half-hourly tariff, and at 4 o'clock every day they tell me what the price is tomorrow, every half hour. So I'll look at 4:30 and I'll see what tomorrow's looking like. If there's a period of about 4 or 5 hours where the price is negative, if I'm around, I'll do a lot of washing and tumble drying, and I'll put the dishwasher on, and just to see how well the system works, I put all the lights on. I'll go around the house, spend 5 minutes just putting every single light on. Yeah, just to test out, how far you can push this. Yes, because if they're paying me 9 pence a kilowatt hour, then I'm going to use as much as I can. Yeah, and it's counterintuitive because we're wasting electricity, but we're not, because we're generating too much. When the price goes negative, we're generating too much electricity, primarily off the North Sea and Liverpool Bay wind farms, and if we didn't use it, then some of those wind farms have to be shut down. Yeah, and we have to pay the generator to shut them down. That's the madness of a system where we aren't flexible enough to use electricity when it's plentiful. We don't have, at the moment, we don't have the storage. Yeah, so storage is the answer. Grid scale storage, big batteries, where you generate as much electricity as you want, and we just store it away and supply from the batteries. So half-hourly pricing is the first thing. Residential generation, so residential solar or wind, add that to the mix. Residential storage, so Teslas or electric vehicles. Half-hourly meter reads. If you've got a smart meter, that's what you've got. Now I've worked a lot in smart meters for about 12 years, and nobody knew why we were putting them in at the beginning. It's like because we had to, yeah. But now it's very clear: if you don't have a smart meter, you can't take advantage of these half-hourly tariffs. It's the only way you can get to it. And then some sort of logic or home automation that is continually checking these prices and working out whether to when you switch the dishwasher on, are you going to use your own solar, or are you going to use your battery or your EV, or are you going to buy electricity from your supplier because they pay you to use it at a particular point in time? So there's some logic there that would continually run, and these sort of things are just starting to appear, where they optimize your use of electricity and where you get the electricity from. But when all these are working in harmony in 5 years' time, I'm thinking, then we don't have to think about what time of day it is. No, all that will be controlled by this home automation. So those are the concepts that this slide set is about 5 years old, and these half-hourly tariffs have only sort of started to appear quite recently. So we decided to set up a project to help us, just people in the energy group, help us work out whether we should even bother switching to a half-hourly tariff, because we didn't know. There's always this. It could start costing you £1 a unit. How often were they going to charge us £1 for every unit, and how often were we going to get electricity as a negative and get paid to use electricity? We had no idea, and I don't think Octopus did either. They were the first people to launch a half-hourly, and this was the health warning. This is like a beta. This isn't guaranteed to carry on. If it turns out they can't make money from it, they'll stop it. Yeah. But there's a mechanism there. If at the moment, if you go to half-hourly pricing, it doesn't cost you to switch onto that tariff. And if they, at any point, it's not working for you, you can go back without any penalty. Yeah. So they made it easier for people to try it, and if it didn't work, they go back without any penalties, which isn't necessarily the case on some of the tariffs. So that's the background. The next bit is, so what did we find? Yeah. So what were the learnings from the project? So any questions on the concept at all before we do that?
Can I just say, Richard, if I may,
Yes.
that the latest news on Octopus is that it's had a significant drop in profits.
Yes.
3/4 of their profits this currently are, dropping to 3/4 of what they were. And that seems to me quite a big drop. Is there any link with smart people like yourself using it to the disadvantage of that company?
So I don't think it is, because they're guaranteed profit from these time of use tariffs. So they have the market price and they just add their margin on top. They know exactly what they're going to get. All their risk is in the fixed tariffs. Yeah. So if you fix their go on one of their fixed tariffs for a year, and their costs go through the roof because the gas price goes up or whatever, then that's where they have the risk. I think they're seeing the time of use as being a guaranteed revenue stream that they don't have to worry about. That's how I see it. But no, Octopus have grown like absolute topsy, haven't they? They've bought a number of companies. They've the actual IT that they've used to differentiate customer service compared to the others, because they're like top for the last 6 years in terms of which surveys, in terms of customer service. They've invested huge amounts in their IT. It's a platform called Kraken. You may see Kraken. They've just sold it as a separate company, such that they can sell it to others. So I don't think the time of use offering will have contributed to that. I think it's probably more the volatility in gas or energy prices around the world. But you never know. This is new. Then they've said they can pull it out whenever. They may not carry on. But good point. Energy is uncertain, isn't it? It's massively uncertain, as we've learned over the last few years.
So it's supposed to be now the biggest energy supplier in the UK. So
Yeah.
it may be also that they've grown too quickly.
Yes.
And
yes.
that can cause companies problems because
It
they
does
have grown very
pain.
quickly.
Yeah. You grow too quickly. Your customer service reduces. There's a whole set of reasons. Sometimes your IT systems are okay for a million customers, but when you get to 5 million, they just can't cope with it. So they have to spend millions replacing it. So it's a risky business. I think we've lost 20 suppliers over the last 3 or 4 years. It's a lot of companies going out of business. So, okay, this
and
project
they're also not committed to being climate friendly. The CEO of Octopus said he'd like to see us drilling more gas in the North Sea.
I've not seen that. Yeah, I think
Thanks, very green.
you can they've got green tariff, haven't they? Where you guarantee that the equivalent of electricity you use comes from renewables. That's one of the options they provide. But there's the opposition leader of the opposition has raised this debate again in the last couple of days. By stop drilling in the North Sea, does that actually reduce our carbon footprint? Because we can't switch off fossil fuel cars now. We have to. We need fossil fuels for the foreseeable. It's 2050 is the point in law where we need to be net zero. But yeah, things are going to change. The only thing we know is things are going to change, I think. Okay, so this is our project. Help you identify savings of hundreds of pounds a year on your electricity bill. That was the number one. Yeah, we're talking fuel poverty, families in our community who are really struggling with cost of living, but also the energy bills. People not putting their heating on, electric heating on, or gas, during the winter, all sorts of things. So we've got things like warm homes. We've done a number of projects in terms of making our people in the parish more energy efficient, stopping the drafts, using less electricity, all that good stuff, which is fine. Reduce the electricity, reduce the bills. But this project was much more to do with all you need to do is switch tariffs, and you save hundreds of pounds a year. That was the what looked like was on offer. Yeah, if we were able to understand what the characteristics of a home in Hayfield looks like, where you could save large amounts of money. Also, help you identify how you can reduce your energy-related carbon footprint. So that's back to just don't use energy between 4 and 7. Yeah, that's a simple one. Yeah, so 2 major constituencies in our parish. There's probably more, but these are the 2 major ones that engage with Sustainable Hayfield. So this was an example of the change in the price of electricity over a week. So you can see the peaks here. These peaks are the 4 till 7 peaks. So these are the days in the week. So 27. So that's the whole week. So it's pretty monotonous. Yeah, that peak is there all the time. The only thing that changes is the height of it. So this is the half-hourly pricing from Octopus that reflects the wholesale price of electricity. So this is the price per unit in pence, so 35p a unit, 40p a unit. But notice, yeah, it went negative there, 1p minus, minus 1p, nearly got down to 0, about 3p. So if you draw a line across the 27 pence per unit, you would get now on your fix, yeah, you would see that only for a couple of hours a day would you be paying more than 27 pence a unit. The rest of the day, you're paying significantly less per unit. So this is what we looked at and thought, blimey, now where's the catch? Yes, we go over to the time of use tariff, and we're pretty well guaranteed, looking at this evidence, that we'd be paying on average probably something less than 20 pence. If you think about roughly where the average is, it's like 18 pence a unit compared to 27 pence, just by putting something into the Octopus website. So I'd like to switch, please. And they'd switch us that day. And then on the next day, you're on the time of use tariff. So we thought that looks like a great deal. So we thought, let's not just switch and see what happens, because I did say the price could go up to £1. That's 40p a unit. It can. They're very clear. It can go up to £1. It won't go above £1, but it can go up to £1. So this was quite this was September time. So actually, 2 years ago, this week, yeah. And that was the pricing. And if you look at the pricing this year, then it is quite similar to that. But there have been times where it did go up to £1, and we'll look at some of that. So on the face of it, lots of opportunity to save money by switching to a half-hourly tariff. So this is just a snapshot from the application, the app that Octopus provide. So this is today. This is the price for today. This was done on a particular day about a year ago. So you can see there's that peak up to 39p, and then this is the price tomorrow. So after 4 o'clock, you just click on the tomorrow, and that tells you what the price is tomorrow. So I'd look at that. If I got my app now and I said, right, let's see what the price is tomorrow, I would say, yeah, we'll continue to avoid that 3-hour slot there. But actually, I don't mind whenever we use electricity, boiling kettles, or because I'm getting somewhere about 19 pence per unit on average across the day, which compared to the 27 pence, which is the fix, then I'm happy with that. So every day between 4 and 7, the cost varies between 28 and 37p. That's what we were seeing at the time. Some days the peaks at breakfast time, just reflects how people start using electricity at breakfast time. But most of the day, the tariff's under 18 pence, but could go as high as £1. So this shows how the usage. This is on a particular day about 18 months ago. So these are the half-hourly blocks during the day. So starting at midnight, ending up at midnight. And this was my usage. Yeah, how many units I was using. So see, overnight, no, I'm using what 3.3 of a unit or something. So this is my telly in standby mode, the computers in standby mode, that continuous usage. And then we get up and it's breakfast time. And then, breakfast time, not much of a change. This is lunchtime. So on that particular day, we may have done some cooking or some washing. And then from 4 o'clock till 7, you know, we avoided, and then we cooked at something like 7:30. Yeah, and you know, made coffee or whatever towards the end of the day. But this is the cost. So that's my usage during the day. This is how that converted into a cost, because each one of those amounts there were multiplied by the cost at that time of the day. So you can see here this bulge compared to my usage is the fact that the price went up. So my usage was fairly flat, but what I got charged in those half-hourly slots went up. So that's my incentive not to use electricity in those 3 hours. I get charged more. But when I actually did start to cook, I was paying like 50p for half an hour. So that's you get like a visual of how much you used yesterday and how much you got charged yesterday, and it shows how that works through. On a good day, that one was sort of an average day, yeah, typical day. And I'm paying, I don't know what if you know how much you're paying a day, but I paid £4.87 that day, or how many kilowatt hours you use in a day. So I've got a 4-bedroom terrace house, and at this point there's 4 of us living there. So my bill's probably a lot more than a lot of people, higher than average in Hayfield probably. But this is a good day. Yeah. So this is one of those days where I looked ahead to see what's happening tomorrow, and I saw that the pricing was very, very good. So it was negative pricing. So this is where I switched everything on. So we did the cooking. This is in the morning. Yeah? Did the cooking, put the dishwasher on, put the washing machine on, put the dryer on, put all the lights on in the house, yeah, and really ramped up the usage, because I knew we were going to get paid for that usage. It meant that at 6 o'clock I didn't have to use any electricity at all. We done all the cooking, yeah. So we didn't have that tea time leap in consumption. So my consumption went up from up to 34 instead of 24. Yeah, so nearly 50% more overall in the day on purpose. But this is what happened on my bill. Yeah, so for a lot of the time I was getting charged hardly anything or negative, and then during this period where we put everything on, you know, I got paid. Maybe only 5 pence for half an hour. Yeah, but I was getting paid. Yeah, and then the peak, the normal peak occurred. So my bills, the cost went up compared to the actual usage. On a bad day, yeah. So this is a bad day where the daily costs went up to like £7, because I was you can't actually see the unit prices here, but you can see that it was £7.28 compared to, on a good day, £1.17. So it's like a factor of 5 or 6 cheaper on a good day compared to a bad day. And you take the bad days, yeah, because you know there's going to be good days. The trend is the issue. You don't know if the number of bad days is going to increase or whether the number of good days is going to increase over time. So I did this. I did the swap. Yeah. So I think it was the 15th of May the 15th. I swapped. And this is the monthly bills. Yeah. So in 2023, my monthly bills were high. Yeah, 210, 190 every month. So for some reason, my consumption during the summer is higher than the winter. Not too sure why that is. We're probably awake for longer. But in 2024, when I did the switch in May, you can see my monthly bills went down significantly. So September.
Richard,
Yes.
can I interrupt? We've only got half an hour left. I hope
Yes.
you're going to leave time for questions.
Oh yeah, no, that's
I
fine.
don't feel I've really got the hang of what your project is. You've said so much background.
Oh yes, yes, I understand. Yep. Okay. So, so this when we set out to get the information, and the project is to help the other residents of Hayfield make their decisions about reducing their electricity bills. Yeah. So we set off with my house, which is just a bog standard house, no heat pumps, no solar, no batteries, gas central heating, electricity load. So fairly common, historically common. So that's fine. My children left home, and we weren't having to handle kids coming home from school at 4 o'clock ravenous, and we had to cook for them. Yeah? So what we wanted to do was to try and profile different types of properties. So properties with gas central heating and household electricity, that's me. One with a heat pump, one with electric vehicle, and one with solar panels, such that, because I'm not typical, and if our project went to families and said, look, I've saved a lot of money, you should swap, and they swapped, and their bills went up, then well clearly we're in a real pickle. Yeah. So what we've done is to profile different types of houses now, and different types of occupancies. So the easy one is, if it's as for me, gas central heating, household electricity, no kids, no school age kids, and we have choice as to when we can use electricity. Yeah, we're saving somewhere around about 30% on our electricity bill. And when we look at those houses with heat pumps and electric vehicles, then similar sort of savings in the order of 30%. But everyone that we've modeled so far, and people have switched tariffs, they're all houses that are empty nests. Yeah, no school age children. Yeah. So our next phase of our project is to recruit individual households who have less control over that 4 till 7 slot in the day. So how do we handle that issue? Yeah. So I'll just go back. The way we have developed like the project is, we can take the smart meter reads over the last 12 months from any house that's got a smart meter. Yeah? So we worked out how to get that information from the suppliers. So we literally create a spreadsheet with all the days in the year, all the smart meter reads every half an hour, and from Octopus, they tell you what their price was every half an hour over that 12 months period. And we just bring the two together. What was the consumption for this new somebody who's interested in joining the project? What was your consumption over that last 12 months? Give us your smart meter reads, and we will apply the Octopus pricing over that same 12-month period, and we'll do the calculation, and we can tell you, if you'd have been on that tariff, you would have saved X amount of money, yeah? Or it would have cost you more because you had to cook between 4 and 7. Yeah, so that's the project. That is what we want to now move to offer people in the village, that just a simple exercise. They don't have to switch tariffs. They don't do anything risky. Just give us your smart meter readings over the last 12 months. And it's fairly easy to get. and we will put that into our spreadsheet, and we'll calculate what you will have been charged last year in the last 12 months. So this is what's how we represent that. So obviously there's a standing charge with electricity. We have to include that in our calculations. For each month, we calculate the agile bill. That's the half hourly bill. We calculate an average unit cost. So that's how much it costs you, 15p a unit. We take the fixed bill, if they're on a fixed tariff, what they will have paid, and do a comparison between the agile bill and the fixed bill. So how much you save a month. Yeah. So and how the actual unit, the cost per unit over each of those months. So you can see for most of those months, the average cost per unit was less than the fixed tariff, and so there's a saving every month, except for January 2025, where we had periods where there was very little wind and very, very cloudy, so we actually hit the £1 per unit for a period of time. So in that month, it cost £7, just over £7 more to be on the half hourly tariff and the versus the fixed tariff. And that's how it looks visually, the savings per month. So that is the project. It's basically, we've now got an understanding of how to guide people in terms of moving onto a half hourly tariff. They may want to do it just for a short period of time. They may want to do it permanently. And so we various different events, various different communication mechanisms, newsletters and whatever. We're advertising for people who are interested to join us. So we've done 6 so far, and every one of them has moved onto that tariff and have saved money. So
and the only thing they need to have is a smart meter, nothing else.
That's right. They need a smart meter and work out with their supplier how to get the half-hour readings off the meter.
Right. Okay.
So it doesn't use batteries at all. I thought your project was going to say we get people to charge up their battery at night and use it between 4 and 7 in the evening, so they're not using any electricity from the grid. But your project isn't actually using batteries at all. It's still saving.
So one of the 6 we've done is somebody who's got batteries. It's got solar. Sorry, it's got solar and batteries. Yeah. So the savings are much less. So you're already in a much better position, clearly, because you've got solar and you're not using electricity much at all during the day. So the savings in terms of percentage savings are much less if you already have some of those capabilities in your house, such as a solar or battery. So the maximum savings, I think, are, in my case, really, I'm the ideal, because I don't have solar and I don't have batteries, and I have children who've left home. So we're going to continue to model this. So as more people volunteer and say they're interested, we're particularly interested in those with school-age children, where they land on the front doorstep at 4, and they switch everything on, and understand what impact that has, and what's the appetite for making that change. No, cook before 4 o'clock. They come home, you feed them. You don't switch stuff on. Yeah, so that's the double whammy, isn't it? You're reducing your costs, but you're also reducing the carbon. If if you're in a household which is really carbon sensitive, we're reducing carbon, then you should be doing that anyway. You shouldn't be cooking at between 4 and 7. But that's an education thing around it.
Can I ask you what the demographic of Hayfield is? I mean, I'm thinking one of the demographics must be an elderly group of people within your community, and to some extent you might expect them, I mean, I'm making a hazardous guess here, maybe using a lot more heat in the winter time, and therefore, their profile would be quite different, possibly from the other ones you're looking at in terms of children and so on.
Absolutely, and this is where this is a long-term project. That we've got six different types of household at the moment, and there are so many. And I think the one you've just identified there, electric fires, in the winter. So how does that work from a cost point of view? There are other alternatives where, a friend of mine just showed me electric radiators, where it stores heat in the brick, similar to the old storage heaters, but much more modern. And got that on a timer, that you heat the house when it's cheap, and then you switch it off between 4 and 7. So this is there's lots of changes in technology coming, and this is just the foundation to it. I am fully convinced that time of use tariffs is the answer both to the carbon issue and the cost issue. It's just we need to guide people. If you're in that demographic where 2 pensioners during the winter, now what are we going to advise them to do to reduce their costs? How can we help them do that? And this is starting to help us understand. It's early, and we want to continue to develop it further.
Yes, I think that's really good. There are a lot of, in our village, which is Bamford, there are quite a few people who are like us, pensioners, with very little money, and they ideally need to keep the heating on all day, which is basically what we do. I mean, the system's on, it's not on all the time, but it's very concerning without those groups of people, because they really cannot afford high bills. They really cannot. And it would be good to be able to get readings from people like that to see where on earth they could save money, because you're supposed to have, what is it, it's supposed to be minimum of 18 degrees for people of our age, in our 70s. And to heat a house all 24, well, not 24 hours a day, let's say 3/4 of the day at 18 degrees would be very, very expensive for them. I really worry about those poor people who are pensioners who need to heat their house nearly all day.
I totally agree. And for me, the cost, fuel poverty is the driver for this, for me. The carbon reduction just comes as a byproduct.
I saw Ian had his hand up. What's your question, Ian?
Well, a couple of comments and sort of questions. So if you're getting all the data, why would you just compare against one tariff? Why not compare against a group of tariffs and find the best tariff for those people? So I agree with you that Agile, certainly a few years ago, Agile was very, very advantageous to anyone who was willing to put the time in to watch the tariff, like you do. And that's an excellent way to do it. Perfect. I know in our house, I might be willing to do that, but my wife and kids wouldn't. And that's when automation comes in, and you covered that. And I think I think that's absolutely right. As we get automation, time of use tariff becomes great, and that will help flatten the duck curve even more, because our systems will just respond to it.
They will.
When you're switching stuff on when things become negative or whatever. The big one you didn't mention, I would have thought, would have been your immersion heater on your hot water tank. That uses a lot of energy. and if if you've got a couple of hours period where it's negative, just heat
Put
your
it
hot
on.
water, and in effect, your hot water becomes a heat battery, doesn't it?
It does.
So it's
It does.
perfect.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
Perfect. The other thing I would say is your examples where you were saving money, except in your own case, I think was a severe underestimate. And the reason why it's a severe underestimate is because people you weren't giving them the chance to change their behavior. You were just comparing
Yes.
against their old data. So
Exactly right.
if they changed their behavior, that would give them an even bigger saving. So
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying Octopus Agile isn't the right way to go. It could well be. But if you've got the data, you may as well, because it's fairly easy then to automate and compare against lots of different tariffs.
Exactly. When we last looked at it, we couldn't find another half-hourly tariff on the market. There was Octopus.
But it doesn't have to be a half-hourly tariff. So, for example, you had someone who had a battery. My guess, if someone has a battery, is it would be even better than Agile. It would be better to have a cheap overnight tariff, top up the battery, and then run all day on the battery. I mean, that's that's generally what I do.
Yes.
But it depends what you have. If you have an EV, having a if you have an EV and a battery, even better. Cheap overnight tariff is an absolute no-brainer, and I wouldn't even look at Agile personally in that case. But it's always worth comparing, and I think it's great what you're doing. If you have people who have none of this technology, I think what you're doing makes a lot of sense.
It does. We did one comparison with somebody with electric vehicle, and it was slightly cheaper on Agile.
Okay, well, it could be. It'll depend on your usage and what else you're doing overnight.
And that's always the case. That's always the case. And
exactly.
We've got to be very...
And Agile will have cheaper costs overnight as well, particularly if it's windy overnight and there's very little. There's obviously very little demand, then there could easily go negative. I'll let someone else come in now, Zizi.
Right.
Okay, and perhaps you'd stop sharing so we can see each other better.
Yes,
I understand that OVO offer also half-hour tariffs, but Simon's got a question.
Two quick questions, Richard. One is, how on earth do they predict the wholesale price of electricity 24 hours in advance? How does the market?
It's just the market timing. So the price of electricity for tomorrow, they don't wait till tomorrow. I think they get the pricing during the day before. That's the way. That's the only way that they can guarantee that they're going to make money. Is that they know the pricing, half-hourly pricing for the next day. So it's day ahead pricing, I think, is the way to think about it.
And they predict that on what forms of generation will be available for the following day. How much wind, how much solar, etc., etc.
Yeah, all the generators, they have to. I think they have to propose or submit what they expect to generate tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And fine, thank you. And then the other question is how. I mean, you've got some very complicated spreadsheets, it strikes me.
Yes.
How easy would it be for another group to, I mean, Julia's talked about people in Bamford. I mean, how easy would it be for us to try and help people in our community?
Yeah, so there's two ways. One is you ask either yourselves or ask other people are interested to identify and download their last 12 months meter reads and then send them to me. Yeah, and I can just put it into the spreadsheet and then send the results back, or I can give you the spreadsheet, and then you can be self-sufficient in doing it.
And how much time does it take you, Richard, to do all of this?
It takes about 15 minutes.
But you're proficient, you're competent.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you see what I mean, there's a learning curve here. I mean, I mean, the other thing, you're talking about behavior change. I mean, there are a lot of elderly people, and I'm elderly,
Yes.
there are a lot of people who don't really want to get into this sort of detail.
No, I agree.
They want an easy life.
Yes, totally agree. No, I think the best thing would be send me the reads, the meter readings, and I'll next day or 2 days later I'll send you the results
So,
that
how do we
basically says.
Sorry to
Sorry?
interrupt you, I beg your pardon. How do we advise people to download their meter reads for the last year?
Yes, so that has been problematic. Yeah, so
Okay.
with some of the suppliers, it's very straightforward. It's on, if you have an online account, most people have got an online account, where you log in and you see your bills and all that. They typically have a section where like a download section where you can download meter reads. Octopus are very, very good, very easy to do it. They're keen to get people involved. Others, others have been good, but there was one in particular who's been an absolute nightmare. And they said, I think the lady phoned up customer service and said, I want my meter reads, and they said, yeah, okay, we'll send them. They actually created a PDF of all their reads. So it's like 50 pages of just print. You couldn't do anything with it. Yeah. As though anybody's going to actually look through 50 pages of meter reads. It has to be in a format that you can put into a spreadsheet. Yeah. So typically it is a spreadsheet that you download. And once you've got that, it's very simple to copy the costs, the reads, and paste them into my spreadsheet. I just got to make the dates and times line up. There's some little sort of wrinkles to it, and the thing is, what we can do together is to, if people are interested in just exploring it a little bit further, we can avoid the wrinkles, because we've learned where, who are the good retailers and who are the ones which are clearly not interested whatsoever, and they just want to put you on a fix, and they don't want to get into meter reads and all that. Very, very happy to spend some time with somebody, come over and explain it in a little bit more detail, and then we can work out what's the best way if you want to try and build up some understanding for people in your area, because I'm keen to get more and more people involved in Hayfield, but outside as well, because we want to learn how this what's the best guidance to give. We want to make sure, if somebody comes along and says, I've heard about this half-hourly tariffs, and we can have just a few questions that says, quickly, given your circumstances, I wouldn't bother. Go look at other things, there's, if you're prepared to change your behavior a little bit, and it's not massive change in behavior, it's that 4 till 7 period. If you're prepared to change it, then let's do some of the sums, and see what it's looking like.
Okay, thank you.
So
I've just put in the chat the article in the Telegraph about Octopus Boss wanting to have more drilling. So,
yes.
That's kind of, I was about to ring them up and say, can we switch to you? But then that rather put me off.
Yes, I'm sure.
Which newspaper is that?
It's let's go back to the chat. It's
Telegraph,
a Telegraph.
Well, the Telegraph has so many poor articles. I wouldn't believe it. Everything I've heard and seen about Greg Jackson, he is the total enemy of the fossil fuel brigade.
He is. I thought so. I thought that.
This makes no sense. I would be amazed if this was true in any way, shape, or form. He may be doing it for a very specific reason, which makes sense. I mean, we do need oil. You know, the world needs oil. It's going to need oil for years and years and years.
Yes.
But certainly not for generating power. Greg Jackson is totally against them, and they generally all hate him because he's forever having a go at the fossil fuel brigade.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. It's good because I don't know enough to know. Can I ask one question before Simon has another one?
Yep.
Early on, when you rushed over the different, you talked about when there's no renewables because there's not much wind and it's dark, so there's no solar.
Yes,
At the moment, gas is picking up the slack.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
When we get to close to net zero at 2050,
yes,
there'll be massively more renewables, but there will still be times when there's no wind and it's dark and there's no solar. What will pick up the slack when we're not trying to use gas to do that?
Okay, so at the moment, the only thing we can do is switch the gas on. Yeah, so ramp it up. Yeah, but the way I think about it is similar to water. Yeah, so we have water coming out of our taps, just like we have electricity coming out of the plugs. Yeah, so it's a utility. Yeah. Now, when there's no rain, we still have water. Yeah, because of the reservoirs. Yeah. So what we have to build is electricity storage.
I understand there's no storage yet that will do it more than a day or two. There aren't storage that will do summer to winter or anything.
Yeah. So there are
at grid scale.
Grid scale storage is the answer. You're right. We don't have it yet. That's why we've still got gas. Yeah. So it's going to be a transition away from gas. And my view, personal view, is what we'll see is storage taking up the slack.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And storage, it can be pumped storage. You can use electricity to pump water to the top of a hill, and then when you need electricity, you just let it out. Yeah. So that's all sorts of way of storing energy. Yeah.
Okay.
Pump storage has been around for donkey's years, isn't it?
Yeah, but there aren't enough paired reservoirs, I understand. But let's have Simon and then Julia ask a question because we're coming up to time.
Like Richard, one of the things that really concerns me is people with fuel poverty.
Yes.
And whether we can use what you're doing to actually help them. When Hope Valley Community Energy were wanting to do a project, they looked at 6 areas and looked at the rate of fuel poverty. It's way above what the statistics show. There are a lot of people out there.
Yep.
Have you targeted anybody, particularly in Hayfield, who's in fuel poverty?
Right. So somebody asked earlier about the demographics of Hayfield. So we're way above national average in terms of free school meals, which is a surprise. Now, the village, the parish is full of architects, teachers, lawyers, every profession you can imagine. But that's a small number. The demographic of Hayfield is surprisingly leading to high fuel poverty. Yeah, so that's where we want to get to. But and this, you may knock me down on this, the people that need it most, cheaper electricity, you go through that presentation with them and you lose them after about a minute. Yeah. It isn't easy stuff. Now what we've got to do is make this a lot more accessible by people in fuel poverty, and somehow take the decision away from them and say, sign here, and we're going to just reduce your electricity bills. Don't ask me how we're going to do it. We're just going to do it. I know we can't do that, but that's the sort of thing we need to get to, and that's what this project is really.
You gave us an incredibly long introduction today. I think somebody in fuel poverty you would lose, because you need to make it a lot snappier. But anyway,
yes.
Julia.
No, totally agree. Yeah, I wasn't sure where to pitch.
It's still very interesting.
It is. Yeah,
really is. It's made what concerns me is the financial viability of companies like Octopus and OVO. In the FT, I think in the last couple of days, both of them appear not to be able to pay the amount of money that is needed by the regulators as buffers. Yes. Or I don't know whether they're not able to do, no, certainly with OVO they're not allowed to, but Octopus said the model for providing that financial buffer is not suitable for his particular company. I don't understand it, but it worries me. Yes.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, we've seen companies disappear, haven't we? And I think Octopus have taken on most of the customers on from those companies that disappeared.
Well, we just stick with British Gas, and
yes, they'll be around forever. They will.
they will, and they have to absorb all of these companies that go to the wall.
Yes,
but this is really, I've taken away your message of not doing or using as little electricity as possible between 4 and 7. We are able to do it. We're both retired. We don't have to be at home, so. Yeah, it's a possibility. Thanks. Anyway, it was, and I think your idea is really good. I might even send you our readings and see what you suggest. One thing I did very quickly wanted to ask you: would it make sense? We're just on a normal standard variable tariff, mixed with gas and electricity.
Yes.
Would it be worth buying a couple of Tesla batteries and changing the tariff and saving a load of storing a load of electricity at night and then using it in the daytime? Do you reckon that would work?
Yep. So I've spoken to the battery companies, which is basically just as a standalone. When do you get a payback? Now you pay £3,000 whatever for the batteries. When do you get that money back? Yeah, and clearly nobody's going to tell you a date because it depends on the price of electricity, which nobody can predict. But there are people more and more now who are saying, no, you can actually turn that battery into money. Yeah, so just by itself, without solar panels, without electric vehicles, or any of the other stuff. A battery you buy cheap, and if necessary, you sell back to the grid, or you use it yourself when it's really expensive. And that, as a standalone, just an investment in the battery is now becoming much more common. And people are saying, their payback is, it used to be like 10 years, or would you bother? But now it's down to something like, for some, but it depends, doesn't it? But for some, less than 2 years to get the payback.
Oh, for a battery, I very much doubt that. Much longer than that for a battery.
You'd have to be on electric heating, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, even with that, batteries. So solar is by far the quickest way to get your payback.
Yes.
And you're not going to even get solar at 2 years. So your battery, I would be guessing your battery, even though batteries have come down, I would be guessing 7 to 10 years to get a return on a battery. Right. So it's still a lot longer.
It depends on your usage.
Of course it does, but I can't see any way you're going to get a return in 2 years. It's the batteries just aren't that cheap yet. Because don't forget, you don't just need a battery; you need the battery and the inverter, etc.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be promising anywhere near 2 years. I'd be looking more 7 to 10 years for a battery system.
Totally agree. This is like this is people writing to say, in articles saying that they had done that. There's not a lot of information that say, well, exactly what are your circumstances. No,
Yeah.
personally, in my situation, it's not imaginable that you'd be able to do it in 2 years. I'd agree with that. They are still very expensive, but over time, the technology is changing, isn't it? The new types of battery technology, all sorts appearing, so that the likelihood will be increasing over time.
Just to point out, there's an embodied carbon footprint of batteries, which is
As well. Yes.
And so, hey, guys, if you're going to be sustainable, batteries are not the answer. And the other one I would like to say to ZZ is when that wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, the ramping up of nuclear is the most likely option that this government will take. And modular units will be one of the answers that will overcome that issue. But whether I agree with that is another matter, because I don't believe that nuclear, because of the nuclear waste, I don't believe that should be the answer. But, that it will be one of the things that our politicians will almost certainly are taking decisions for. So, I mean, for you as a householder, that nuclear option will probably be the first answer to your question of what happens when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine. There'll be a switch to nuclear, not gas.
I agree. But the problem is that they take 15 years to build a nuclear power station.
These modular ones are a bit shorter than that, I think. But
well, the SMRs
building
aren't
new ones
proven
yet.
yet. But when
they are. Hang on, you're missing the point. There are a lot of them coming out already.
If the SMRs come in and start to get used, I agree they can be quicker because they can be mass produced.
Yeah.
But they're not ready yet. Nuclear itself takes far too long. The government has essentially already agreed, and it makes sense to keep some gas online for those days. The aim at the moment is to go for so never try to get quite to net zero by 2030 or 2035, whatever they're trying to do on the electricity system, but it's to hold about 5% of gas, because that last 5% costs you a hell of a lot in backup with batteries or oversupply or whatever. So if you just hold. The easiest way, by the way, would be to have like a national gas system where you pay for the whole system and you hold it, so they're not forcing the price up, because at the moment, whenever gas turns on, the price goes rocketing.
Yes.
To avoid that, you would just basically buy it as an asset yourself and run it yourself just for those backup days, because otherwise it becomes too expensive, and that's how you would manage it. But I think gas will remain for quite some time just as the backup.
Yep, totally agree. The SMRs, what I've been reading more recently is AI is just going crazy, isn't it? So we're having to build loads of data centers. So the big data centers will have their own SMR.
Yeah.
Because the data centers are going to really mess up the local grid. The demand is so big.
Yeah. That's
so one of the interesting things on SMR on the AI centers, those things cost absolute fortune, and actually they do want to put quite a few in the UK. We could have our whole grid upgraded if we just offered to support them properly by upgrading our grid. They would pay the extra cost of upgrading the whole grid, because they don't care. If you think about the cost of upgrading the grid, I can't remember, even if it was £1 or £2 billion, right? Compare that to a cost of a data center, it's almost nothing. If we were to offer them proper upgrades and we could do it in a timely fashion, they would pay. Now, I know that sounds incredible, but if you go away and look at the numbers, it actually does work out. But it won't happen, because I think the problem is we can't upgrade the grid that quickly. But
it takes years.
In terms of paying the cost, it would be absolutely amazing. I think we're getting off topic. And
anyway, but very interesting.
And I doubt the politicians would go for it, because politicians don't seem to do sensible things.
Now you're talking.
They've got to win elections.
Well, it's been really interesting. Do you want to make any final summing up sentence, or I just thank you?
I think we're at the start of this, and there's a lot to learn, and we want to bring in as many other organisations and people to be part of it, where they want to learn as well. So that's the thing.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much,
Nice to
Richard.
see
Thank
you
you.
again.
All the
Yeah.
best.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.